Sword of Convallaria is a mobile game on Steam or your phone. You can't reroll on Steam though, so that's pretty silly. It is a SRPG or a tactical RPG, similar to stuff like Final Fantasy Tactics, Ogre Battle, and other games similar to that genre. What makes this game a little bit different than all the other ones is that characters have their own skill trees, and they have different abilities, skills, and passive that they can benefit from said skill trees. I'll go over that in just a little bit. That adds a lot more to the game, but obviously it depends on how you want to play the game, versus I'm sure some nerds gonna optimize everything and ruin the fun as they always do. As of right now, the game itself isn't very challenging, so it's not too bad to just wing it, honestly speaking. There's a story to this game, but instead of just talking about it, I'll just make a quick little montage. Alright, enough of the Ninja Turtles. To quickly sum up what you just watched, the main character wakes up with amnesia, like every other main character at this point, and he uses magic, and magic sucks. And then he meets Raria, who rescues him. He helps out by shooting lightning bolts, and then she gets murdered, you get murdered, your two adopted children get murdered, more or less, and that's kind of the plot of the game. So, which translates to time shenanigans, as in, kind of like ReZero, but not really, because there's a whole pub area. Like, there's some pretty silly situations, like, this guy gets thrown into the cage, not even a minute later, this other guy comes in and kills him. Why did they even lock him up if that's the case? Like, there's this other situation where this one lady knows this rider, who's like a neighbor of hers, and then he presumably gets murdered by our party? Like, what? And this is more like a small little nitpick, but that same lady that got the little shitter killed, she becomes a playable unit for one mission, but you can just click on her ability and you can see what her real name is. But that's about enough of talking about the actual story. Let's talk about the actual gameplay. And the first thing, let's start with the good. So the good is, like I mentioned earlier, how units have different skill trees and skill ability. Skill tree is pretty limited to just one or the other, and they are either an active ability or a passive, which is fine. But it is fun. Right now I'm playing with just the non-legendary units, which is what they're called. But, you know, it makes the game a little bit more fun, and I like some of their design. It brings back the old SRPG feeling, where you're using generic characters more so than actual legendary heroes. There are also ways to rank up in this game. It's a shard system based gameplay, so you can get shards by farming it or getting it from quests, which in a sense promotes free to play, which is fine. And that's how you would rank your characters up. So far, if you have one of the legendary units, if you max rank them out, you get a special art skin that changes. And that's about it. I mean, on top of, obviously, stats and upgrades, as we can see here. One of the things I actually like about the skill tree is that it promotes synergy. Like, one of my favorite characters here, Lightning. One of her skill allows her to self-buff herself, and luckily that self-buff does not even end her turn, so she's able to attack afterwards, but her default skill is an AoE ability. So what you do is you can buff her and then do a big AoE to clear out enemies, and I really like that. That's about all I can think about for the positives, but when it comes to the negatives, a lot of it is kind of not on the game itself, but the way it is monetized. Also, story's kind of boring, gameplay is really easy. Anyways, so here's an example of one of the events that's going on in order to get a skin for one of the legendary characters. I don't know if there's any other ways to earn more of these rolling tokens, but the only other way to get it is by spending money for this skin event. On top of all the other skin event, there's also the skin battle pass on top of the actual battle pass. The skin battle pass being similar to, I believe, like Nike was where I first saw it. Obviously, you have to put money in this just to unlock the skin, which is the first one, and then there's another skin after completing it. And the regular battle pass, you've seen it everywhere, where it's just simply complete it at 30, get a weapon, complete it, get some stuff, etc. Nothing too unique. I think the gacha is one of the biggest offenders. It's because it needs about 180 to hit the hard pity. There's only one form of summoning, so it's not like other games like Genshin where you have the blue and the pink one. It's only just one, and the banners do not carry over for the pity, as we can see here. The one with Gloria already threw 2 in, and then you look at all the other ones here, it's still 180 to get the hard pity. That's honestly really brutal. There's no after you roll, there's usually another currency where you can trade for either more rolls or items or material. We don't have that in this game either, based on what I'm seeing. I could be wrong, maybe it comes later, but I don't think that makes any sense. I also don't like how this game handles their quest system. So you have 3, which is the dailies on the far left. The middle one is you progressing through this time-space thingy, and the right one is the main story in a weird way, and you need 1 key to unlock it. However, the key refreshes every 10 days, or you have to pay 100 gems. Just don't think that's a good way. I think quests should just be allowed to do it normally. Like, why are you gatekeeping quests? My closing thought for this game is that while it is a SRPG with amazing art, the skill tree is very interesting. I do like that idea that every unit has some form to make them better. I feel like that would just get min-maxed at the end of the day if content does get hard, or some units would just be completely unplayable. But aside from that, there's a little bit too many negatives. It feels like it's very ambitious in trying to take your money. Of course, you don't have to do any of this. You don't have to buy the skins, you don't have to buy the battle pass, you don't have to spend money to roll legendary characters, and you just play it how you are, and that's fine. But honestly, as a gacha gamer, we like to gamble, we like to collect the characters, we like to do everything, and it's kind of rough. I don't know. I think for me personally, I give this game a solid 4 months before EOS out of 10. That's my closing thoughts. I don't see myself playing this game for a very long time.